Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife news video. I've got a number of things I want to talk about, so I'm going to try to move quickly. If you want more detail than I'm able to go into in this format, go ahead and check out knifenews.com. You can check over there now and kind of follow along as we go, or you can just wait to see what I have to say and then go and check out the stories that are of most interest to you. I will put a link in the description box down below. Before I get into the stories I want to talk about, I think we will have a bit of a discussion about clones in this video, but I want to send some shout outs and some thank yous to a number of people. Most importantly, well, the three that I want to mention specifically are Real Bush Monkey EDC. He sent this knife as well as a number of others. This is the Lion Steel SR11, a knife I've been really excited to check out. He sent over a few others. This is his 0920. And so thank you so much, Scott, for doing that. Zell, I want to thank you as well. Zellrick42. Zell is the rep for WE Knives in North America, and so he, every once in a while, will have some WE Knives that he can send out for review, and I'm really grateful that he's able to do that. Really helps the channel out. And finally, this knife that he sent me just happens to look a lot like the knife he sent Nick Shabazz, and I'm fairly certain that it is. I can't imagine Zell has like 10 green WE Knives over there. But that brings me to the last person. Nick sent over the Kaiser Toro for me to check out, and again, I'm really grateful for that. It really helps the channel. And all of these are knives that I've been super excited to check out, but just haven't been able to get my hands on for whatever reason. And so that is a huge help, and I'm super excited to have that kind of support and to be able to look at more knives than I can buy and deal with on my own. So huge thank you to all of those people who've done that. Before we get into some of the stories I want to talk about, let me share one quick thing. Epic Snuggle Bunny. This is not from Knife News, but Epic Snuggle Bunny has done two really cool videos recently. One is a discussion on custom knives. And if you're one of those guys who just doesn't get it, and I often am, okay? I look at a lot of custom knives and go, in what world would I spend that kind of money on a knife? It just isn't feasible for me and for many people, okay? But if you're one of those people, I would recommend you go over and you check out Austin's video. He's done a great job sort of explaining the mindset and the joy that he gets out of custom knives. And if you're someone who is into custom knives or wants to get into custom knives, he offers some great tips, warnings, tips and things to avoid and things to look for. Anyway, great video. The other thing is he recently did a collaboration video with Blade HQ, which again is really good. So those are probably on the short list of videos that I've been most interested in lately. Other than, this does come from Knife News. Nick's done a video about clones, and we're going to bring that up in a second. Before we get to it, though, I want to touch on a couple of other things from knifenews.com. The first one being an online sharpening school. I've gone and watched part of the first few videos, and it is really good. If you want to get into sharpening, if you don't sharpen your own knives now, but you want to get good at it, this is a great resource. It's totally free. It's a combination of videos, so you can kind of see what's going on, as well as written articles that kind of give you further direction. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to take those videos, I'm going to share them over on the Sharp Stuff Facebook page, so if you're not over there, I'll put a link to that in the description box as well. And so I'll have those videos posted over there. Next, and so yeah, that's just a really cool story and a really cool thing that that is being done. Now I can't think of who's doing it. Sorry about that. But free online sharpening school. Check out the. You'll see it on Knife News anyway, especially if you're over there. But you'll also see it on the Facebook page. Next, I want to talk about new stuff and old stuff. Okay, recently we've had some releases. Number one, with some discontinued stuff. I don't know where the other one is. The 0900 is one of the discontinued models, but the 0909 is also discontinued. That's a really awesome knife. Real Bush Monkey EDC sent me one of those for review as well, and I am going to have to buy one. It is fantastic. I really need one. I highly recommend you do the same, and because they're discontinued, you can find some pretty good pricing out there. But outside of ZT, and that's a bit of a story, but Spyderco released some discontinued knives that are really, really outstanding. That is surprising to me and important to notice, I think. Probably the biggest of these is the Nirvana. And the Nirvana was Spyderco's flagship. This was showing off, you know, what they were able to do and how high-end they were able to get. And now it's discontinued. Didn't sell. And honestly, if you watch the reviews of people who are getting that knife, most people were not that impressed with it. What's interesting was what seems to be the most popular sort of thing about that knife is to have it reground, and then apparently it's just phenomenal. Okay, so, excuse me, I got a bit of a cough. But the Nirvana being discontinued is disappointing, but maybe not surprising considering that it just didn't do all that I think all of us were hoping it would do. It wasn't, you know, there was a lot of hype and we were just expecting the greatest thing that had ever come out of Spyderco or any manufacturer for that matter, and it just didn't happen. So Nirvana is discontinued. But even possibly more troubling are two knives that are two of my favorite Spydercos. The Spyderco Domino, which is a fantastic knife. I don't love the original, the black sort of weird coating, the black weird colored carbon fiber, but the blue, the red, the Bento Box Shop exclusive, those are great, great knives. Highly recommend any one of those if you can get your hands on it. A little small for me, but even with the size being what it is, I loved that knife and I carried it a lot. Domino is great. Now the dice is also discontinued. I'm not going to miss that one, but it's such a cool design that I still think it's surprising that it's going. The TI and the fluted TI military are going. Again, I don't know. It's not totally surprising, but I will say I've tried about 3 or 4 different Spyderco militaries in the standard configuration, you know, with the G10 and the steel liners. I do not like that knife. I really don't. The titanium, I love, I adore the titanium military. It's absolutely fantastic. And so it's really disappointing to me that that one's being discontinued. I kind of get it as it is an older design and it probably isn't speaking to some modern sensibilities. So, you know, I understand it, but I am disappointed to see it go. The other one would be the fluted TI Native 5. And that one, I think, I was surprised that wasn't a sprint run. It feels like a very exclusive knife, and it probably, now that it's discontinued, it'll go up in price. So if you have one, that's probably a good thing. We also have announcements from CRKT. We have all the new, well, we have a bunch of the new CRKTs and a bunch of the new Rugers for 2018, which is a really, really interesting thing. And so go ahead and check those out. I will link in the description to my own video discussing all of those knives. I'm not, again, going to go into every single one of them because I want to get to my big point here, which is the discussion of the clones, and that's what we're going to kind of close on. This has been something that's been sort of at the forefront of my mind recently. Number one, Nick did a recent Knife Gripes video about counterfeit knives and clone knives. Microtech is suing Global Tactical Supply, which I mentioned earlier, and Spyderco a while ago has sued eBay, and that's an ongoing issue. I think they may have had to reissue that lawsuit or something. Anyway, here's my take on all of this. Number one, I say good on Spyderco and good on Microtech for trying to defend their intellectual property. I absolutely think they're totally in the right for doing that. And if they're able to stop US retailers from carrying that stuff, it goes directly toward reducing the number of clones that are out there because it takes away the financial incentive to do that. If you're not going to be able to sell your knife on eBay, then it really diminishes the point of making that knife at all. And I would, in a perfect world, I would like to see all clones disappear. Okay, that would be awesome. Now, I know some of you are watching this going, come on, Kevin, I can't afford the dollar zero tolerance or Spyderco or whatever. The only way I can afford it is if I'm buying the clone. Well, the first thing I would say is if you're buying the clone, you're not really buying the real thing anyway. Okay, it's not exactly the same except for the name. That's not the way it works, okay? The fit and finish, the materials, the steel, all those kinds of things are different. So you're not getting the real thing anyway. It's not like you're getting an actual Spyderco at a lower price. That's not how it works. Okay, that's number one. Number two, though, is there are tons of great knives at any price point. You know, if you say to me, I can only spend $30 on a knife, I can tell you like 100 great knives that you should buy, okay? You don't need to be buying the clones. There's no purpose for it. All right, and finally, the bigger thing here is if you've bought one You know, if you dropped real money, 300 bucks, 400 bucks, something like that on a Microtech or a high-end Spyderco, and it turned out to be a fake, right, I bet you'd have a different stance on this particular issue. Now, yeah, you could say, hey, you have to do your due diligence and you shouldn't buy things on eBay, and I'm aware of all of that. It still sucks that I even have to care about it, all right, that I have to pay attention to it. Now, let me say this about all of this. When you think of any industry that is, you know, high-end and luxury, there are clones out there. So I know the cloned purses and cloned bags are a big deal. And here's the thing, if you just want a bag to carry your stuff around in, you're probably like the person who says, who cares? Like, I just want a knife to cut stuff with. I don't care who made it. I don't care what name is on it. I just want it to be decent. Okay, well, if that's you, then you're not going to be that concerned about this issue. But if you're someone who's done your research and you've, you know, tried knives in a store, you know your favorite designer is Les George. You know, let's pick on this zero tolerance. You know, your favorite designer is Les George, and you know, follow on Instagram, and you've always wanted a Les George knife, and you can't afford one, but you go to buy a 0920 from Zero Tolerance because it's a Les George design, and you're super stoked about it, and it turns out to be a fake. All of a sudden, you care. Okay, so the clones are going to matter more to the enthusiasts. They just are. That's kind of how this game works. And so if you're not one, I understand why you go, why do people care about this, all right? However, it should be pointed out that even if you just want a knife to cut stuff, if you buy a clone and if you think you're getting a good knife and you end up getting a clone, but you're like, ah, whatever, it still works. Just, you're getting an inferior product. So that's a bit of a, I don't know, that would bother me. Maybe it doesn't bother you. That's great, but it would certainly bother me. So that's my take on this whole clone discussion. All right, I definitely don't like it. I don't really even like the homage knives. Now, you may have noticed on my channel, I'm not covering a lot of Gonzos these days. They've got some that I might pick up because they look very different, and I don't think they're copying anything. And if that's the case, then yeah, I may pick that knife up. However, I gotta tell you guys something. I've often talked about Gonzos being really good quality for the price, and they are. Okay, but recently, some of the Gonzos I've had for, you know, a year or 2 years and put a little bit of use on, they've developed up and down blade play, and it's been pretty consistent. So now, you know, I'm starting to see where, yeah, maybe, right, maybe you're not getting all you think you're getting for that 30 bucks, or actually less, $17 or $20 or something like that. But yeah, when it develops up and down blade play that won't go away, that's pretty frustrating to me. And it's not the end of the world because I only paid $17, but it does maybe reveal that there's something going on there with the level of quality. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear your comments down below, especially on the clone stuff. We will talk to you soon.